The machines hummed around my son like a chorus of dying stars. ICU lights burn differently. They don't flicker, they accuse. I hadn't slept in 36 hours when my phone rang. "Mom, tomorrow's your sister's birthday," she said, her voice clipped, rehearsed. "Come help with the prep." I stared at the heart monitor, the small, fragile line that tethered my boy to this world. "I can't. He's fighting for his life." A pause. Then the snap, sharp enough to cut through the static. "Then you're cut off." The line went dead. So did something in me. I hung up, blocked her number, sat there watching the pulse on the screen, steady, defiant, and wondered what kind of mother weaponizes affection like a blade. The next morning, my son opened his eyes and whispered, voice cracked and small, "Mom, Grandma caused it." At first, I thought the drugs made him delirious, but his eyes, those wide, terrified eyes, told another story. He said he'd overheard her that night. She'd come to the house while I was on a night shift, promised to help him sleep. He remembered a strange taste in his drink. Then, nothing. My mother, the same woman who raised me on guilt and half smiles, the same woman who told me love was measured by obedience. I should have broken then. But grief is a forge. I burned, and something sharper came out. Growing up, she called herself the glue of the family. But glue doesn't hold, it traps. She decided who we loved, who we hated, who was family and who wasn't. I was her favorite until I got married. Then she turned cold, manipulative. She'd call my husband the thief, the man who stole me from her. After the accident, the fall that put my son in ICU, she was the first at the hospital, brought flowers, tears, played the grieving grandmother so perfectly even I almost believed her. But I remembered something. The day before it happened, she'd asked to take him for ice cream. He came home sleepy, too sleepy. And later, when the doctors mentioned the toxins in his blood, not enough to kill, but enough to sedate, the puzzle began to click. I didn't confront her. That's what she wanted, an outburst she could twist into my emotional instability. Instead, I went quiet, collected. I dug. Bank records, security footage, her emails. She never changed her passwords, too arrogant for that. That's how I found it. An insurance policy, on my son's life, filed under her name. 2 weeks before the accident. I read it twice, my hands shaking, then steadying. She'd listed herself as guardian, beneficiary. The signature was forged, mine, traced with uncanny precision. That's when I stopped being her daughter. The next phase was patience. I transferred my son to another hospital, under a different name, different doctor. Then I called her, unblocked the number. "Mom," I said softly, "I'm sorry, I overreacted." The silence on the other end was sweet, calculating. Then her sigh. "Oh, honey, you always do." I let her think she'd won. I invited her to dinner. She came dressed in white, always the martyr. I cooked her favorite meal, poured her favorite wine. We sat, smiling like nothing had happened. Halfway through, I said casually, "The police called. They found something interesting in the insurance records." Her fork froze. "Someone forged my signature," I continued, swirling my wine. "They're investigating for fraud and attempted homicide." Her breath hitched, subtle, almost imperceptible, but I'd learned to read her tells. "I'm sure it's just a mistake," I added. "They'll probably want to ask you a few questions." She dropped the glass, didn't even flinch when it shattered. Her eyes darted, the way prey scans for escape. That's when I set the final trap. I'd already sent the evidence to the police from an anonymous tip line. The policy, the forged forms, the bottle she left at my house. I'd kept it, hidden, sealed. They raided her home 2 days later, found sedatives, handwritten notes, copies of signatures. They called it premeditated endangerment. I called it justice with a pulse. She tried to reach me afterward, letters from county jail, begging, pleading, blaming her fragile mental state. I never opened them. Last week, I stood by my son's hospital bed. He's walking again now, slowly. When he asked if Grandma would ever come home, I told him the truth. No, sweetheart. Some people belong behind glass. He nodded, quiet, then said something that hollowed me out and filled me all at once. You saved me. Maybe, or maybe I just finally stopped letting her win. Either way, when I left the hospital that night, I drove past her old house. Lights off, curtains drawn. For the first time in my life, it looked small, like her. And I realized revenge isn't fire, it's silence, after the screaming stops.